Welcome to the Kunsthalle. I'm Jahson the Scientist, and I have the pleasure to invite you on the journey of discovering some fantastic art of Huda Takriti and Abiona Esther Ojo. We have a combination of what is called weaving truths and untangling fictions. Please join me as I share my thoughts that I pick up as I explore, and the thoughts I have picked up as I explored. Join me. So here we have Weaving Truths by Abiona Esther Ojo. And on the other side, we have Untangling Fictions by Huda Takriti. I'd like to invite you first and foremost just to take a look and see what your eyes catch. Come forward. If you take a look as you look around, you've got different pieces within the Kunsthalle. And they're actually made by combining strands and woven together. As these strands are woven together in different ways, creating different styles, different patterns, all sorts of interesting, intricate details, knowledge and information too. On this side, we have the spiral. The beauty of here itself, which naturally spirals. And we will look at these closer, and as you do, you will notice more information and more detail that is on the surface. Maybe much like taking a magnifying glass to here, and the closer we look is the more we see. So let's keep viewing. Here we have a double winding strand, double knots, often twists with long locks flowing. For me, twists were a precursor to my locks. So I had locks and long hair flowing before I made them into actual locks. They were twisted, but they looked very similar. Again, a 3-strand braid plaited together in this form, often adorned in style. The longer the hair, you can only tell it when it's braided, because with Afro hair, which is what Abiona Esther Ojo is sharing with us, it's hidden. If the person was to often leave, depending on the kink and the type of tightness of your curl, somebody can have hair this thick, but only observed when braided to be this long. The wonder of the kinkiness of hair and the styles that we observe even as we see these strands, and the details on them hold stories. Stories of people, stories of diaspora, of culture, of individuals, and the collective. I actually think it's pretty genius how this was put together. If you have the fortune of being able to witness these close up, eye to eye, you get to feel them more. With the inclusion of actually stuffing textile to form strands, to make them macroscopic, and create different forms that represent hairstyles, telling you stories is genius. Different patterns, different styles, hair made in different ways. As I first started to write about this, I had a few thoughts. It's that blurred, I got naps, you can see it straight. That blurred, see it spiral like the galaxy. Facts, bruv. We can take it to our DNA. It's that blurred, it's that blurred. And as I connected this idea of hair and DNA, it warms me towards Huda Takriti's installation. Because I was looking for what connections can be made between these so disparate topics. On one hand, there's hair, and on the other hand, we have a search for an ancestor. Huda takes you on her journey as she looks to find the missing pieces in her ancestor's story. And she literally goes through from place to place journeying, finding different stories, impressions, and images as she moves. She combines these different impressions visually with her impressions that she picked up and shares them through word as well. And as you can see, it's created with two different screens, much like our eyes for viewing. Let's take a closer look. A wonderful juxtaposition of pieces and scenes, sometimes very similar and sometimes combined from disparate ideas to form a single object when viewed from a distance. Playing with close and distance is also part of the genius of this. Because from a distance, you see two eyes, two lenses, but close up, you see the detail, the difference, the changes, and again, the parallels and similarities. I'd like to share a few words that came to my mind with Esther's work. Of course, you've heard me say it before, but the galaxy. We look up and see these spiraling galaxies around us, and we come down to Earth and look at every human's head, no matter if it's long or shaved, this weaving pattern on the back of their head is visible. Sometimes single spiral from one center. Other people have spirals in different places, too, from which the designs of their own hair are formed. So on one hand, we have the galaxy, one hand we have DNA strands as we go into the microscopic world. And we have reflections on the macro and the micro. And in Esther's work, I see duality. I see community and individuality, to be together, but also to be individual, to be part of a grander scheme, but freely you, is a beautiful harmony that I know I experience when I engage either from my community directly within the diaspora or to the broader community all around. Our stories are wonderful and similar and different and beautiful at the same time, sharing contrast and similarity throughout our lives. Within here, you have to include self-love. If you take care of your hair, it's represented and visible. Even your hair is smiling back at you by its texture and its feel. Often the way it looks, its sheen, its shine, its glatt or otherwise. When not looking after on the other side, you can see it shedding, it drops off. And we have to let go and let things disintegrate and dissolve. The words trust come to mind, the words love come to mind, the words of value come to mind. Of course, there's different styles in the afro here with their braids and their locks and their twists and their plaits, etc. Can't forget all the other styles, the ball head. Yeah, you've seen the warrior, the female warriors that you saw in Black Panther, looking fierce with that bald head, you know. And we know that's a choice, a decision. Often looks like a symbol of strength. As I start to think, I'm thinking of Shaolin monks and others that shave their hair as a symbol of commitment to something, to a path. Others shave their hair to let go and release and be separate too. Our hair tells a story, just like our genes, just like our DNA, and just like our ancestry. And I'd like to share a couple of thoughts that came to my mind when looking at Huda Takriti's work. She says, put yourself in the picture. So be part of the story. Bring yourself in. She says, translate the movement. Be in it and feel the waves under your feet like a surfer, just like wind to sails. Like birds' wings do the wind, as sailboats do the sea. Van Gogh had to be with what he sees, or his art wouldn't be stamped so unique. As an artist myself, I really take pleasure in owning my work, knowing that I've pulled together various pieces and strands and woven them into a single piece. And yeah, I do look at some art or some pieces from some people and kind of think, it seems like a carbon copy of something else and is a little bit plastic. And there's other times where I see the creativity seething through every line, every sentence, every drop, and every pause. And there's a difference between owning what you do and just, you know, when collecting this idea and recognizing the similarity and the seamlessness between the two that seemed so disparate to me before, on one hand, weaving truths, collecting true stories and weaving them together. Literally, you can see it on the text. And on the other side, untangling fictions, because Huda went on a journey to discover an ancestor's story. And as she went to discover the ancestor's story, she picked up different stories, impressions and ideas. Sometimes the ideas and the stories clashed. And that brings us a question of truth. And what is truth? What is reality? And as I look at Huda's work and I look at it, and it's called fiction. And the fiction that we see somehow holds very true realities, very real realities, I should say. Much like Esther's weaving truths holds stories. It holds truths through symbol even. The truth of the spiral, for me, is one I can't let go of. It made me who I am. The spirals inside of my cells gave me the texture of hair that I have. As the genes come together to make their codons, those codons create amino acids which make proteins, which make textures and types of folding hair, colors of eyes, skin colors and textures. My spirals make me who I am. passed on by my parents, who got it from their parents and their parents' parents before them. The stories that they lived are living in me. I am them. Truths through weaving and stories and unraveling fictions is pure dichotomy and duality and difference. On one hand, you hold truths in a piece of art, but called fiction because the story itself is, well, it's made up, it's composite, it's CGI. It's not the real thing. But within the story, you can collect reflections, ideas, realities, truths, people's stories, how they live. All of that's there. Nature, earth, it's all there. Which part of it is fiction and which part's reality is, boy, we might as well not argue about that because we can argue forever. And I'm inviting you not only to bring yourself into the picture, but to own your truth. I love science. Duh, my name's the scientist. But science holds its stories too. In the special theory of relativity, Einstein tells you very clearly that a single event can be observed and described completely differently according to the point of observation. And both differences are real and equally true, undeniable, but they are different to each other. They tell different realities, different takes on reality completely. And it's not the same as seeing I see the front and I see the back. It's having two totally different stories that don't make sense together, but both of them are equally real and equally true. And in life, I pick up my stories. I pick up my ideas. One thing that never left me, because I really am into science, and science is about studying the physical. And as I journeyed through the study of the physical, I kind of realized that generally speaking, because science is a study of the physical, part of the worldview that comes with understanding only from a purely materialistic idea is that some experiences that I hear and stories that I'm told can't be held by just a purely materialistic perspective. And Einstein had problems with this too. But the problems that he brought to the table only helped to shed light and bring out quantum truths. So him denying and countering ideas helped other scientists to bring out their top game to try and disprove him. Different perspectives, different realities, discrediting each other can be equally real and equally valid. That's mind-blowing. That's just... it kind of allows me to think about the power of the myth. I think about the Buddha and his hairstyle, these little knots that are often called shiny bumps, and these twists of long strands of hair that literally ball up into the smallest thing. Like, this is a knot of many. But literally, if we were to unravel it, I'm sure it will take us all the way to the end of the room. And Buddha and his shiny bumps in India remind me and hold the same name as what we see in Africa, called Bantu knots or Zulu knots. It's a sharing of human story from in Africa moving through. Anthony Browder helped us to connect some dots between African tradition and culture and moving into the Nile Valley. In the Nile Valley, sharing similar ideas, practices, and they get spread and they move as people move. They move with people. Until the point where we'll literally find the Buddha stupa linked and being very similar, if not highly comparable to the Dogon granary, for example. In Mali, the Dogons and their granary are part of a cosmological story that they have. And they tell a story about creation and how it comes to being. Egypt, otherwise known as Kemet, tells its grand story of creation. And we move through other lands and they tell their grand stories of creation, many of them holding similarities. The number of cultures that talk about a primordial egg is a wonder. Atum created himself on the top of a mount from Nun. These are the waters of chaos from which Atum formed himself, and from himself created Shu and Tefnut, dryness and moisture. And the beauty of Egypt's pantheon, we all know the hieroglyphs stamped in stone. They are literally like letters, have phonetic value, but their form and diagrammatic symbology is also very clear and very telling. So within only holding form of value for word and writing and being able to tell a story like that, you have each character telling its own story, its own symbol. A wave may be, let's think, and we can see many waves, many parallels, and each symbol can be used in its variety of ways. Embracing symbology through textile is very much part of a way that we as humans identify ourselves and tell our story, create our identity. There's two parts, like we take from what we have and then create something new. We're both including tradition and individualizing it, making it for me. I rock this like that. It's me. I rock my hairstyle how I do. It's me. When I choose to do what is how I do it, which is my individual self. But I'd be a fool to deny how I got it, where it came from, how it came to me. It's all part of my story. Duality is definitely a point that starts to get passed on. With Shu and Tefnut, dryness and moisture, it's an obvious opposition, they're opposites. But then the next two that come after them, Geb and Nut, earth and sky, or earth and space, or matter and space. It's genius. What is held in these symbols and stories and what's passed on. Pure science. Because every atom itself is material, right? Yeah. But within each atom, it's mainly space, right? Yeah. We see the ideas of duality being passed on through these stories. We see the collection of polar opposites, where we also see science in law, rarefiedness, waters, the liquid, the moisture, the earth and the material, and the vastness of expanse of space. Literally, galaxies are being pushed apart as space is being created in that sky. These stories are genius. Passing on of wisdom, of ideas, tradition, culture, and teaching. I'm going to share some words with you. When I was watching Huda's work and listening to her words, at the top of my page I had these words: secrets power the unknown. Waters, migration, unknown land, new culture and a group of people, planes landing on water, tree representing roots in full display, new place, clear blue sky, language, who's speaking? Is this place of clear blue sky deeply rooted people with an awe of beauty, a past memory, a dream, a vision of our future, or the reality of now? Grandma's love is one we can never get enough of. But her wisdom said, be young, use your body whilst you have one, whilst you have it. I'll be waiting for you to love you. Though time is one, the time for you has not yet come. How do you measure distance between a vague dream and an image? Ground like pixels, tiles like roadmaps, light and shadows, pretending to be colors for white. If white light holds all colors and black matter absorbs them all, the white light penetrates through space devoid of color, absorbed by the ultimate black body, only to be radiated again, maybe to another space, another time. It brings to mind cosmic sex, a union between a black hole and all matter, energy, light. What is birthed from this union? You tell me. Think, check the image, and imagine. If the image is a mere seed, reimagine. For the seed is in this cosmic ocean and will take form as it is fed by the vision. I mean, the light in your mind's eye takes shape and form in the expanse of the all. Genius, I say. Genius. I mean, is this myth, dream, or reality? Is this art or story? Is it fiction or reality? And can it be both? As I rock this style and I have, people will know me without me saying what I'm saying. Some who know will know. I turn around and rock my symbols, and others see it as colors and style, and some see it as patterns and maybe an allegiance to something. Maybe it's a creed, maybe it's an ethos. Genie Ame, an Adinkra symbol. I fear none. The Creator, or but the Creator. I have respect for the all, and I live with no fear. This life is to be enjoyed, for your best to be brought forward. And the stories that are held in symbols and ideas and patterns, passed on through clothing, passed on through hairstyles. Hairstyles that helped the enslaved African American to find his way to freedom without his master seeing. Because the symbols in the hair, the master couldn't read. Genius, I say. The quilted patterns and designs and symbols that form a message for those who can see. For those who can see, will see. So knowledge transmission is very much real through Dogon rituals and the Sigi festival, where people are dancing around in a particular design, telling a particular story. Part of that story of which is that the Sirius star system is not a single star system. They had no telescope, and how did they know this is a huge question to be asked. It's a binary star system that we now in modern science accept, that there's a white dwarf orbiting it every 50 years, as the Dogon said. In fact, we should keep looking because we're in a discourse to see if it's a trinary star system. According to the Dogons, Emeya, a red dwarf, is what we will find. Information transition, transmission of information through the stela, the yoga hands and poses on the Egyptian walls, the chess pieces being played on the Egyptian walls, the martial arts, thousands of years before martial arts found its way to the East. You have diagrams of practice of punching and pushing into the red hot coal or whatever those molds were to represent. Just like in Babylonia or Assyria, the stories of the Enuma Elish and the waters of chaos, who through time form fresh water and salt water. The parallels are unparalleled. I'm very fortunate to be able to share my thoughts with you. And I'm going to leave you with a piece of art of my own. And it's a piece from my band Sketches on Duality called Blessed. You do art, shouldn't talk about the money. I'm confused as what? Watching the price tag of Monet. Oh, don't want to pay me? You can go F off for free. I'm gonna catch a seat and pour my tea. It's just my vibe to rhyme with the almighty. I'm ground to the knees, standing up, that's Kapeni. Oh, all you can do is watch you rise. You can go ahead and cry, wishing your ass was by my side, trust. I know pain is like a thorn up in your side, but it's all right, yeah, it's okay, trust. I said you can go ahead and cry, it's a flavor you find in life. You know it turns salty when it dries, right? And don't believe the hype of those guys saying there's not enough you and I. They're only seeing what they're saying and believing in their own two eyes. Tell me I lie. Now tell them boys got the finer notes and put that down in the line notes. We work divine to the animal. We got the poison and the antidote. So we catching our heights, we staying fly and being blessed. Our alibi, so blessed, yeah, feeling so fresh, yeah, so stress-free. I don't need to catch a rest. Why? We're blessed people. So thank you for joining us at the Kunsthalle Wien to witness Abiona Esther Ojo's Weaving Truths and Huda Takriti's Untangling Fictions. Great, okay. Is that okay?